There are people in our lives, people we call family, people we call friends, who wear masks so well, you could swear you've known their true face forever. Their smiles are warm, their words sound comforting, and yet there is a shadow behind their eyes, a whisper behind their intentions, a darkness they do not let you see. People are not always who they appear to be. We live in a world where faces can smile while hearts plot. The person sitting next to you at the dinner table, the friend who laughs at your jokes, the partner who holds your hand and whispers sweet words, they can all be wearing masks. These masks are carefully crafted, woven from the threads of charm, warmth, and familiarity. They are designed to conceal the truth, to hide the darkness that lingers behind the eyes. And the most dangerous masks are the ones that feel real. They feel like love, like trust, like safety, until the illusion begins to crack. It is easy to believe in what we see because our hearts want comfort. We want to trust the people who claim to care for us. We want to believe in the laughter, in the gestures, in the words that soothe. But masks are not always gentle. They can be instruments of control, tools of deception, and shields for intentions that are anything but kind. The person behind the mask may not be evil in the way we imagine demons to be, but they are hiding a truth that could hurt you. They may twist your emotions, manipulate your choices, or feed on your vulnerability while smiling at your joy. The danger of masks lies in their subtlety. A mask does not shout, it whispers. It whispers through tiny acts of concealment, through moments of hesitation, through a flicker in the eyes that you almost don't notice. You may see the warmth in a smile, but behind it is a calculation. You may hear words of encouragement, but they carry hidden conditions. You may feel embraced by friendship, but it is a friendship that tests, controls, or diminishes your light. Recognizing these masks requires attention, a quiet awareness, a willingness to look beyond appearances and notice the spaces between words and actions. People hide behind masks for many reasons. Sometimes it is fear. They fear rejection, exposure, or vulnerability. Sometimes it is ambition. They need to maintain power, influence, or control. Sometimes it is darkness. They carry envy, resentment, or cruelty that cannot be seen until it surfaces. And sometimes the mask becomes their identity, a permanent shield they never remove, even for those who love them most. The most tragic part is that masks can fool even the keenest observers, because the person behind them is practiced, rehearsed, and skilled in the art of appearing trustworthy. Your heart will often sense the mask before your mind does. There will be moments when you feel uneasy, when you sense something hidden behind the charm, when a smile feels slightly off or a word carries an invisible weight. These instincts are not imagination. They are signals, warnings, messages from the part of you that sees truth even when the world is blind. Yet even when the heart senses, it is easy to rationalize, to dismiss, to convince yourself that the person you love could not possibly hide such darkness. That is the power of masks. They thrive on your desire to trust, on your need for connection, on the hope that people are as kind as they seem. Masks are not always permanent. Some people remove them over time, revealing vulnerability, honesty, and genuine care. Others never do. Some use them to navigate the world safely, while others use them to manipulate, deceive, or harm. The challenge lies in discerning which mask is temporary and which is a permanent barrier to truth. And the first step is awareness, the realization that even the people you love the most may carry hidden faces, that appearances are often not reality, that trust must be earned through consistency, transparency, and authentic action rather than mere words or gestures. The truth about masks is uncomfortable. It forces you to question your assumptions, to examine your relationships, to confront the possibility that the warmth you feel may be a facade. It asks you to pay attention, to be vigilant, to see beyond the surface. Because when masks are left unchecked, they can conceal harm, manipulate emotions, and distort the very foundation of trust. Understanding masks is not about paranoia. It is about clarity, protection, and awakening to the reality that human appearances are often layered, complex, and intentionally deceptive. Darkness often does not announce itself with fire or noise. It creeps in quietly, in whispers, in small gestures, in fleeting moments that you almost overlook. The subtle signs of darkness are not always obvious. They are woven into the fabric of everyday life, hidden beneath smiles, concealed behind kind words, and masked by appearances that feel comforting. The danger of this darkness is that it thrives in the unnoticed spaces, in the pauses between conversation, in the flickers of hesitation that no one else seems to see. You may brush it off at first, calling it coincidence or misperception, but the truth is that these signs are not accidents. They are the echoes of hidden intentions, the faint imprints of a presence that seeks to manipulate, control, or consume. You notice it first in the smallest things, a delayed response to your happiness, a subtle twist in a compliment that carries judgment, a laugh that follows your success with a shadow of envy. It is in the way someone changes their tone when you speak of your dreams, in the way they shift their gaze when you express hope. These are not grand gestures. They are tiny, almost invisible, but they accumulate over time until the weight of them becomes undeniable. The subtle signs of darkness do not scream, they whisper. They speak in pauses, in micro-expressions, in moments where the soul recognizes danger before the mind fully understands it. Sometimes the darkness is in the way someone reacts to your achievements. They may smile, but it is a smile that does not celebrate. It is a mask of approval hiding the bitter taste of envy. They may offer help, but it comes with strings that bind, not freedom that uplifts. They may listen to your pain, but their empathy is shallow, used to control rather than comfort. Every small act, every quiet gesture, can be a piece of a larger pattern that reveals the heart behind the mask. It is in these patterns, repeated over time, that the truth of hidden darkness emerges. Other times, the darkness appears in moments of control. They may insist on knowing your thoughts, questioning your choices, or guiding your actions under the guise of care. They may create doubt, whisper lies, or make you question your own perception of reality. And it is subtle enough that you feel guilty for noticing, as though the fault lies within you. That is the cunning of darkness. It hides behind concern, behind love, behind friendship, and slowly erodes your trust in yourself while presenting itself as protection or affection. Pay attention to the emotional residue left after interactions. Do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you feel energized or drained? Do your instincts tingle with unease, even when everything seems normal? These sensations are signals, messages from your subconscious that detect the presence of hidden darkness. Often, the heart knows before the mind does, feeling the weight of shadows that logic cannot yet explain. Listening to these feelings is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that subtlety does not mean harmlessness, that quietness can be dangerous, and that awareness is your first defense. The signs of darkness are also relational. Notice how people treat others when you are not watching, how they speak of those who cannot defend themselves, the small cruelties that pass unnoticed. These are the fingerprints of hidden intent. If someone's kindness disappears when the spotlight is off, if their compassion is conditional, if their love feels transactional, these are not accidents. These are clues, pieces of a puzzle that reveal the true shape of their heart. The subtle signs accumulate, forming a pattern, and the longer you ignore them, the deeper the darkness can embed itself into your life. Recognizing subtle darkness requires patience, observation, and honesty with yourself. It demands that you stop rationalizing harmful behavior, stop excusing shadows as misunderstandings, and begin to see patterns as they truly are. The world is full of people who wear masks and hide motives, but the subtle signs, the flickers, the hesitations, the small distortions of kindness, these are the trails they leave behind. They are whispers that say, pay attention, Do not trust blindly, and guard your spirit before it is too late. Demons are not always the creatures of storybooks or nightmares. Sometimes they walk among us wearing skin and smiling faces. They speak with voices that sound comforting, laugh with hearts that seem warm, and appear to care, but their intentions are far from pure. These are demons in human form, beings who conceal malice, envy, or cruelty behind masks of familiarity. They are not obvious. They do not strike with fire or make their presence known with chaos. Instead, they work in whispers, in quiet manipulations, in subtle distortions of reality that make you question your own mind and heart. The danger is not always in what they do, but in how convincing they are at making you believe they are harmless. These demons are masters of disguise. They come as friends, lovers, family members, mentors. They know your vulnerabilities, your hopes, your weaknesses, and they use them like tools, bending your trust to serve their desires. They feed not on your blood or your body, but on your spirit, on your energy, on the love and faith you give without suspicion. They are patient. They wait for the right moment to reveal the cracks in your defenses. They smile while they manipulate. They speak while they deceive. And the most dangerous part is that they can make you feel responsible for their darkness, making guilt a weapon sharper than any blade. You will notice them in the way they respond to your successes. A demon in human form does not celebrate your light. They may appear supportive, but behind every compliment is a shadow of envy. Every gesture of kindness may have a hidden agenda. They measure you, test you, and sometimes push you into doubt or fear, all while appearing loving or concerned. Their goal is not to harm openly, but to control, to diminish, to siphon your confidence until you begin to question what is real and what is false. Their presence is a quiet storm, a slow erosion of your spirit that is almost invisible until the damage is done. They are also skilled in emotional camouflage. They know how to appear vulnerable, to make you feel needed, to earn your trust before they exploit it. They will mimic empathy, repeat your words, mirror your feelings, all to create the illusion of connection. And when the mask slips even slightly, when the mask is almost removed, they will twist the truth, redirect blame, or make you question your own instincts. This is the essence of a demon in human form. They thrive in confusion, uncertainty, and emotional dependency, feeding silently while appearing ordinary, familiar, and safe. These demons often target the most sacred parts of you, your hope, your love, your dreams. They seek to bend your reality, to make your own choices feel like errors, to make your own perceptions seem unreliable. They are patient architects of doubt, building invisible prisons that cage your mind and distort your view of the world. They are relentless, persistent, and cunning, always working behind the scenes, always careful not to show their full face. To recognize them requires sharp observation, courage, and a willingness to face truths that hurt, because once you see them, you can no longer ignore the subtle ways they undermine your life. Awareness is the weapon against demons in human form. It begins with listening to your instincts, noticing patterns, and trusting the feelings that rise when something feels off. It means distinguishing between genuine care and manipulation, between authentic support and disguised control. It means observing actions more than words and patterns more than moments. These demons can hide behind charm, behind affection, behind familiarity, but their shadow lingers, and if you are awake, you will see it, you will feel it, and you will know that some smiles are masks, some words are lies, and some hands that seem to hold you are actually tightening around your spirit. Your instincts are the whispers of your soul, the quiet voice that speaks when logic fails and appearances deceive. They are the ancient compass within you, guiding you through darkness and uncertainty, pointing out danger even when the world insists that everything is safe. Trusting your instincts is not about paranoia, nor is it about judging others harshly without reason. It is about listening to the signals that your mind and body send. the subtle feelings that stir when something is wrong, the unease that cannot be explained but demands attention. Every human has this internal radar, but few honor it. Too often, we silence our instincts with rationalizations, excuses, or hope that things are better than they appear. And in doing so, we open ourselves to deception, manipulation, and hidden darkness. Instincts are often felt first in the body before they reach the mind. A tightening in the chest, a knot in the stomach, a sudden chill down your spine. These are the early warnings of danger. They are subtle, easy to dismiss, and yet powerful. The mind wants evidence, proof, reassurance, and the world teaches us to rely on reason. But instincts do not require evidence. They do not argue, they do not negotiate. They simply exist as signals, as the body and soul perceiving truths too complex for the conscious mind to process. Ignoring these feelings is ignoring a part of yourself that sees beyond masks, beyond words, beyond appearances. Trusting instincts also means observing patterns rather than isolated events. A single moment of discomfort can be coincidence, but repeated unease, repeated inconsistency, repeated subtle warning signs form a language that cannot be ignored. It is in these patterns that instincts speak most clearly. When you feel drained after being with someone, when their compliments carry a shadow of judgment, when their kindness has conditions, your instincts notice before your mind does. They map the patterns, detect the subtle manipulations, and signal you to pause, to protect, to question. This is not fear, this is clarity. This is the internal compass guiding you away from harm and toward truth. Many people doubt their instincts because society teaches us to trust appearances, to follow logic over feeling, to value what is spoken over what is sensed. But instincts are not irrational. They are deeply rational on a level the conscious mind often cannot comprehend. They process more than words and surface behaviors. They process tone, intention, micro-expressions, energy, and emotional resonance. The instinctive mind sees what the rational mind cannot. To ignore it is to deny the wisdom built into your very being, the quiet intelligence that has kept humans alive for millennia, the subtle alert system that knows shadows even when the world is blind to them. Trusting instincts also requires courage. It requires the willingness to question relationships, to confront uncomfortable truths, and to act even when there is no outward proof. It means saying no when something feels wrong, walking away when intuition screams danger, and protecting your spirit even when love, loyalty, or hope makes you hesitate. It is not always easy. Instincts may guide you to confront someone you care about, to see patterns you wish did not exist, or to accept truths that shatter illusions. But ignoring instincts brings far greater danger: the slow erosion of trust, the quiet infiltration of darkness, the subtle but persistent damage to your spirit that can take years to undo. Instincts are also the foundation of discernment. They teach you to separate genuine care from manipulation, true kindness from hidden motives, authentic connection from disguised control. When you trust them, you begin to see the difference between those who lift you and those who feed on you. You begin to notice the energy behind words, the intentions behind gestures, the shadow behind the smile. Every hesitation, every gut feeling, every quiet unease is a signal, a message, a warning from the part of you that sees what others hide. Listening to it is not fear, it is survival wisdom. And the first step in guarding your spirit against deception, toxicity, and hidden darkness. Your spirit is the most precious part of you, the core of your being, the essence that feels, dreams, hopes, and perceives. It is the part that senses truth before the mind understands, that sees shadows behind smiles, that whispers warnings when danger approaches. Protecting your spirit is not a luxury, it is a necessity. The world is full of people who, intentionally or unknowingly, drain energy, manipulate emotions, or feed on vulnerability. If you do not guard the essence of yourself, the very thing that makes you alive, the very thing that allows you to love and trust, can be eroded, leaving emptiness where your soul once flourished. Protecting your spirit begins with awareness. You must pay attention to the subtle currents of your relationships, noticing how people make you feel rather than what they say. Some people leave you lighter, freer, more yourself. Others leave you heavy, constrained, uncertain of your own perceptions. These are not accidents. Every interaction imprints on your energy. Every word, gesture, and glance carries resonance. And those who bring darkness or manipulation will leave subtle traces on your spirit. Awareness is the first shield. It allows you to see clearly, to recognize patterns, and to make choices that preserve your inner light instead of dimming it. Boundaries are the next layer of protection. Your spirit cannot thrive if it is constantly exposed, constantly bending to the whims, moods, or manipulations of others. Boundaries are not walls of isolation. They are lines of self-respect, lines that define what is acceptable and what is harmful. Setting boundaries requires courage, honesty, and consistency. It means saying no when something feels wrong, refusing to engage in relationships that drain rather than nourish, and protecting your energy, even from those who claim to care. Boundaries teach the world how to treat you, and they safeguard the delicate balance of your inner life. Protecting your spirit also requires the practice of discernment. Not every act of kindness is genuine, not every smile hides warmth, and not every word carries truth. You must learn to read the energy behind actions, to distinguish authenticity from manipulation, to trust your instincts over appearances. Discernment is not suspicion, it is clarity. It is the ability to see beyond masks, to understand intentions, and to respond in ways that honor your own safety and integrity. Without discernment, the spirit becomes vulnerable, subject to the subtle influences of those who wish to control, deceive, or diminish you. Self-care is another crucial form of protection. Nourishing your spirit is not selfish, it is essential. Quiet moments of reflection, meditation, connection with nature, creative expression, and the cultivation of joy are all acts that strengthen the core of who you are. A well-nourished spirit is resilient, able to recognize danger, withstand manipulation, and maintain clarity in the presence of shadows. Neglecting your spirit makes it fragile, susceptible to influence, and less able to detect the subtle signs of those who may wish to harm or control you. Energy is contagious. The people and environments you expose yourself to will shape your spirit, sometimes without your conscious awareness. Protecting your spirit means choosing associations wisely, surrounding yourself with those who lift rather than drain, who support rather than manipulate, who illuminate rather than cast shadows. It means distancing from negativity, disengaging from toxicity, and creating a sacred space within yourself that cannot be violated by external forces. It is a practice of vigilance, awareness, and care, repeated daily, moment by moment, until guarding your essence becomes instinctual, as natural as breathing. Protecting your spirit is not passive. It requires active choices, courage, and sometimes confrontation. It means walking away from relationships that harm you, speaking truth when deception arises, and refusing to compromise your inner integrity for comfort, approval, or false love. It is a declaration to yourself that your essence matters, that your energy is sacred, and that no mask, no manipulation, no subtle darkness can claim what belongs to you. Your spirit is the fortress of your being, the light that guides you, and the source of resilience that allows you to navigate a world full of hidden shadows. Freedom begins the moment you see clearly. It begins the moment you recognize the masks, the subtle manipulations, the hidden darkness that hides behind familiar faces. Recognition is not simply knowing, it is understanding with your mind, feeling with your heart, and sensing with your soul. It is the piercing of illusion, the lifting of fog, the awareness that allows you to step out of confusion and into clarity. Without recognition, you remain trapped in cycles of deception, giving trust where it is not deserved, offering love where it will be exploited, and surrendering energy where it will be drained. But when you recognize the truth, when you truly see the shadows behind the smiles, You reclaim power over your life, your choices, and your spirit. Recognition requires honesty. It demands that you confront uncomfortable truths about the people you care for, the relationships you have cherished, and the illusions you have believed. It is a confrontation with reality that few are willing to face because seeing clearly often brings pain, disappointment, or grief. Yet, without this clarity, freedom remains impossible. Recognition is the first step in breaking patterns that bind you, in untangling the web of manipulation, in distinguishing those who uplift from those who diminish. It is not an act of cruelty toward others. It is an act of preservation, a declaration that your life, your spirit, and your energy matter more than appearances, excuses, or false loyalty. When you recognize hidden darkness, you gain perspective. You begin to see the subtle signs that once seemed trivial as part of a larger pattern. You understand the ways that energy has been drained, trust misused, and hope exploited. Recognition turns fear into knowledge, confusion into understanding, and uncertainty into power. It allows you to make choices from a place of clarity rather than reaction, to set boundaries with confidence, to protect your spirit with intention, and to engage with the world in a way that is aligned with truth rather than illusion. Recognition also liberates your heart. It frees you from the weight of doubt, guilt, and misplaced responsibility. When you see clearly, you no longer carry the burden of thinking that someone else's darkness is your fault. You understand that manipulation, deceit, and hidden agendas are reflections of the other person, not of your worth. This awareness lightens your spirit, restores your confidence, and opens the door to authentic relationships that honor your energy, your trust, and your love. It is a liberation from the invisible chains that deception, envy, or control can create, and it allows you to move forward without the fear, hesitation, or confusion that once held you captive. Freedom through recognition is also the ability to choose consciously. You no longer react blindly to appearances or words. You respond with discernment. You decide who to trust, who to love, and who to let go. You choose environments, relationships, and actions that nourish rather than deplete. You act from alignment with your truth, guided by instincts honed through observation, experience, and awareness. This freedom is not reckless, it is deliberate. It is not impulsive, it is intentional. It is the mastery of your own life, the reclaiming of authority over your spirit, and the quiet but unshakable power of clarity. Recognition transforms vulnerability into strength. Once you see clearly, you are no longer prey to hidden darkness. You are no longer trapped by the masks of those who wish to deceive or manipulate. You carry within yourself a shield that cannot be pierced by charm, deceit, or subtle cruelty. Every insight, every moment of clarity, every acknowledgement of truth strengthens the armor of your spirit, allowing you to move through the world with confidence, resilience, and freedom. It is the liberation that comes not from controlling others, but from mastering the awareness of yourself, the boundaries of your spirit, and the vision to see both light and shadow with unflinching clarity. In the end, the world will always present masks, shadows, and hidden intentions. Not everyone who smiles at you is kind, not every word of comfort is true, and not every hand that reaches for yours seeks to lift you. But within you lies a power greater than deception, the power to see clearly, to trust your instincts, to protect your spirit, and to recognize the truth even when it is painful. Awareness is your shield, discernment is your compass, and courage is your armor. When you learn to spot the darkness, to see the masks, and to honor the quiet warnings of your soul, you no longer live in fear or doubt. You live with clarity. You live with freedom. You no longer allow hidden shadows to dictate your emotions, your trust, or your love. Every step forward becomes intentional, every choice aligned with your truth, every relationship weighed by authenticity rather than illusion. Freedom is not given. It is claimed through awareness, courage, and the unwavering protection of your spirit. Recognize the shadows, honor your instincts, guard your energy, and in doing so, you will walk through the world unshaken, unbound, and fully alive. The masks may remain, the darkness may linger, but your light, the truth of who you are, cannot be touched, cannot be deceived, and cannot be hidden.